As a fourth generation Lombardian, my family used to own some property here in Lombard, and I have no idea where, so we're going to go into the Lombard Historical Society and try to figure out where it is.
So our archives host everything from newspapers, photographs, primary source material, letters, journals. We just have a very extensive collection here at the Historical Society.
So my great-grandfather, he built the Henderson building, and then Harold Hahn had the hardware store. So that's what we're here for, is to get whatever we can find on Harold Hahn and Louis Hahn.
One of the biggest questions that we do get here at the Historical Society is about how do you do research?
That's exactly what I did.
That's exactly what you did. So on our website, we have a great, under the Learn tab, you can go to Archives and Research and fill out a research request to see what we have in our archive and collection. It takes anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks to process those requests, but we've got an amazing team of people who work through, scan, and then we will send you what we have in our collection digitally.
So as a Lombardian, if we find pictures in our homes, should we be giving you guys copies of them?
We would love high resolution scans, or if you don't want to keep them, they're a great asset to our collection.
That's good to know. Oh yeah, the drugstore. That's pretty interesting. Well, thank you. This is awesome. Phew. All right, now that we have all our info, let's go on a little historical hunt. What we found out is this was the Henderson building and was built in 1927 by Louis Hahn, my great-grandfather. He built this building. At the time, I'm not quite sure what this portion was, but it then became the famous Hendersons. Upstairs was Illinois Bell. When it became too big for this building, they moved down the block on Main Street. So FairyTales is here currently, and right before that was Henderson's, and then before that it was, I'm not sure, a variety of different things, a drugstore, and that was when it was built back in 1927 by Louis Hahn. So the hardware store was owned by my grandfather, Harold Hahn, and it occupied here where Esquire is. Louis built in 1927, I would say in the 1950s, 1960s. This was the hardware store, but my grandfather passed while I was a younger child, so I only remember about 10 years of it. And it wasn't just a hardware store, it was more of a community, because back then it was different. You didn't have multiple hardware stores, so this was more like a community hardware supply store. This is Esquire Barber. The owner is Marcus. He's been here a long time, 30-something years. The last time I was here, I brought one of my grandsons, and he sat here cutting hair, trying to figure out who he knew that I knew, or I should say, who I was related to. He seems to cut my entire family's hair. This is a community staple for a barbershop, so if you want to come and meet people this is the place to come. So this is Sweet Street Candy Store. Not by this name, but this has been a candy store since I was, oh my gosh, in kindergarten, because we lived right here down Park. I went to Sacred Heart School, and this was our pretty much daily spot. We would stop at the candy store. We would stop at Zitt's. Unfortunately, my grandfather had passed away by the time I got to Sacred Heart, so we didn't get to stop at the hardware store anymore. So let's go on in and just take a quick peek around the candy store. They've got a lot of good things here. Look at all these varieties, from chocolates to all these ice creams. You know me, my favorite food is ice cream. They change, they're not always the same. This lemon meringue sounds really good. And they have some unique varieties of candy. Actually, I need to pick up a few things today. So they have Pop Rocks, they have Old Razzles, they even sell those bad cigarette candies, but they're fun, even though they're bad. My favorite is the Pop Rocks, and then I really enjoy bringing the little ones here so they can just kind of pick out a couple things. I normally tell them, pick 2 or 3 pieces, that's it, because they want one of everything. They have the gummy cheeseburgers and all that good stuff. They do have a nice collection of Pezzas over there. Charleston chews, does anybody remember putting those in the freezer to eat them? See, I'm aging myself. There's just so many unique things. Come on in and give it a try. Pop Rock, thank you. This is where Zitt's pet supply and feed store was, which my Uncle Al worked at. It's another place that we would frequent on our way home from school. And they had a monkey named Sputnik was his name, or her name. Actually, she was a girl. For some reason, we all just thought that it was a boy. And so this was Zitt's. Zitt's was around, from before I was born, well into the 60s and possibly even the 70s. I'm trying to think. My Uncle Al retired when they closed it. So I'm gonna guess it was probably probably mid-70s. This was like the neighborhood feed store. We didn't have the Menards's or the Lair's feed stores way out west. I mean, none of that was around yet. Comment below if you've ever met Sputnik the monkey at Zitt's Pet and Feed Store in downtown Lombard years ago. So those are just a few of the places that have some significance to not only my family, but the significance to Lombard as well. In the comments below, let me know some of the places that are important to you.